Welcome back. This is episode 9, and the drama is about to escalate, with Yeon-do still missing and tensions running high. As Ha-jun races against time to find her, Yeol confronts Soo-ah about her involvement in the chaos. And with a new deadline looming, the truth may finally come out. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss an update. Now, let's dive back into the drama. When Ha-jun finds Yeon-do on the dark road, limping and crying, she immediately collapses into his arms. He holds her close, offering quiet comfort as she sobs in relief. Gradually, she becomes aware of their closeness and steps back, her cheeks flushed. She stammers about how rough and scary the road was, and Ha-jun smiles softly, amused by her nervousness. At the campsite, Yeol confronts Soo-ah, his voice shaking with anger. He accuses her of abandoning Yeon-do alone in town without transportation. Soo-ah lies, claiming she thought Yeon-do told her to go ahead, but Yeol cuts her off sharply. He deduces her real motive. She assumed Yeon-do had the incriminating USB footage. "You're wrong," Yeol tells her coldly. "If anything happens to Yeon-do, you'll pay for it." Meanwhile, Ha-jun helps Yeon-do back to the campsite. After they take a spill on the bumpy road, Ha-jun uses his bandana to bandage her bleeding knee. Yeon-do, regaining her usual spark, insists she's fine. Instead of pedaling, Ha-jun pushes the bike while Yeon-do rides, creating a sweet and playful moment between the two. Elsewhere, teacher Yang and Yeol search for Yeon-do by car. Yang presses Yeol for answers about his tense exchange with Soo-ah earlier, but Yeol brushes it off, saying he'll explain later. Back at the campsite, the group grows increasingly worried. When instructor Nam arrives and realizes the chaos, the students inform him that Yeon-do is missing, but now, they also notice Soo-ah's absence. Inside her tent, Soo-ah spirals into panic, remembering Yeol's parting words. Yeon-do isn't the one who sent her those notes. When Yeol and teacher Yang finally spot Ha-jun pushing Yeon-do on the bike, Yeol rushes out, yelling at Yeon-do out of sheer worry. He scolds her for getting hurt, but his concern is evident as he fusses over her injuries. Ha-jun, standing nearby, feels slightly awkward watching their dynamic. Back at the campsite, everyone breathes a collective sigh of relief as Yeon-do returns safely. She promises to explain everything later, avoiding the immediate questions. Later, Yeol corners Soo-ah outside her tent. He taunts her about what Yeon-do might reveal, watching as her facade crumbles. Soo-ah maintains her innocence, but Yeol lays it all out. He and Ha-jun already saw the CCTV footage of her stealing the USB from teacher Im. Yeol confesses that he used Yeon-do's sticky notes to bait her, confirming her guilt. As Yeol continues, Yeon-do joins them, having overheard the conversation. She demands to know why Soo-ah left her behind, saying she would have let it slide if there was a valid explanation. But now, knowing Soo-ah feels no remorse, Yeon-do declares that she's had enough. Soo-ah defensively retorts, "What are you going to do about it?" Yeon-do calmly replies, "Watch and see." She warns Soo-ah that her actions will no longer go unnoticed, and soon everyone, even her mother, will know the truth. Though visibly shaken, Soo-ah tries to stand her ground, claiming she won't suffer because of someone like Yeon-do. After Soo-ah leaves, Yeol softly asks Yeon-do if she's okay, noting how uncharacteristic her outburst was. Yeon-do breaks down, admitting she's tired of staying silent while Soo-ah continues to hurt others. Yeol smiles encouragingly and tells her to do what she needs to do, but to be careful not to cross any lines she'll regret. Later that night, teacher Yang tries to liven the campfire with a few songs, but his melancholic tune only dampens the kids' spirits. Both Yeol and Yeon-do keep an eye out for Soo-ah, who hesitates for a long while before nervously joining the group. Determined to turn things around, the kids crank up the energy by turning Yang's somber song into a cheerleading routine, laughing and having fun. Despite the lively atmosphere, Soo-ah remains visibly uneasy. As the campfire dies down, Yeol suggests playing the truth game. The kids balk at the idea of playing in front of their teachers, and teacher Im, much to his disappointment, is nudged away with Yang. In their own tent, the teachers hold their version of the game, bantering about whose job is harder. Teacher shares a hilariously bitter anecdote about Principal Choi throwing objects at him while asking if she looks fat, hilariously clinching the harder job argument. Back at the campfire, the real truth game begins. Ha-jun is asked about his first love, but chooses the penalty, a heart doodled on his cheek, instead of answering. Yeon-do gives him an encouraging thumbs up, and Ha-jun shyly smiles back, a moment that doesn't escape Yeol's notice. He grows visibly uncomfortable. When it's Dong-jae's turn, Ha-jun asks about his dream. Dong-jae quietly admits that he hopes to overcome his fear of being touched. Curious Dami asks how it started, and Dong-jae recounts a memory of accidentally pushing a young Yeon-do off a jungle gym, leading to her being unconscious for 3 days. Yeon-do gently reassures him she's fine now, but the incident left Dong-jae deeply scarred and afraid of unintentionally hurting someone again. The kids rally around him, with Hyo-shik offering heartfelt encouragement. As the game continues, Sua attempts to slip away, but Yeol halts her with a pointed question. Why did you ditch Yeon-do? The kids are stunned, their shock quickly turning to anger. Before tensions escalate, Yeon-do steps in, diffusing the situation by calling it a simple miscommunication. Her calm but firm look at Sua speaks volumes, and Yeol's approving smile signals that Yeon-do is back to her usual self. Later, Yeol and Yeon-do take a quiet walk together. Yeol asks if she feels better after what happened. Yeon-do confesses that while she initially wanted to expose Sua, she realized humiliating her wouldn't bring peace. Yeol teases her for making him the bad guy instead, but Yeon-do knows he did it out of care for her, even giving Sua a chance to come clean. Not long after, Sua pulls Yeol aside to talk. She asks why he didn't reveal everything to the group. Yeol turns the question back on her, pointing out how Yeon-do protected her yet again. He warns her not to take Yeon-do's kindness for granted, as it won't last forever. Tearfully, Sua admits she was desperate to avoid her mother's wrath if she got second place again. Though she knows she was wrong, she pleads for time to confess the truth to her mother and the school. Yeol reluctantly agrees, giving her 3 days, but only if she apologizes to Yeon-do. After Yeol walks away, Sua's expression hardens, her tears drying up. Her true intentions remain unclear. Meanwhile, Yeol reflects on seeing Ha-jun with Yeon-do earlier, jealousy flickering across his face. Ha-jun, on the other hand, smiles to himself as he recalls catching Yeon-do in his arms. Yeon-do, restless and unable to sleep, steps outside for some fresh air. All three wander the campsite, lost in their thoughts. Eventually, Yeon-do finds Yeol, who teases her, saying she couldn't sleep because she wanted to see him. Flustered, she denies it, but Yeol continues, joking that he barely got to spend time with her because she disappeared. His tone grows serious as he admits he felt responsible for what happened, and his anger earlier was more directed at himself than at her. Yeol finally confesses what's been on his mind. He doesn't want to keep his feelings hidden. Laughing at his own boldness, he tells her plainly, I like you. Yeon-do is too stunned to respond immediately, and just as he prompts her for an answer, Ha-jun appears, cutting through the tension. Sensing the awkward atmosphere, he doesn't press, and instead suggests they all go for some late-night ramen. In the morning, the team gathers for practice, their movements more synchronized than ever. Instructor Nam commends their progress, saying they're getting good enough to make regionals a real possibility. The encouragement energizes everyone until they realize Sua is missing. Meanwhile, Sua sneaks into Yeol's tent, rifling through his belongings. She finds his tablet but grows frustrated when she discovers it's locked. As the kids pack up to head home, there's a bittersweet reluctance to leave the carefree atmosphere of the campsite. Yeol notices his belongings are slightly out of place and shoots a knowing look at Sua. Though he almost confronts her, he ultimately opts for a mischievous grin, letting her stew in her nerves. Back at home, Sua meets with her mother and Director Lee to report on the camping trip. She hesitantly starts to confess how she secured the top ranking and mentions that Kim Yeol was cleared and returned to school. Her mother cuts her off, sternly reminding her never to lose her rank again. Intimidated, Sua swallows the rest of her confession. After the meeting, Director Lee speaks to Sua privately. She reveals that Yeol has a copy of the incriminating CCTV footage and warns that the situation could escalate. Sua realizes Director Lee knows the full truth but has yet to inform her mother. Director Lee cautions that if things worsen, she'll have no choice but to tell her. Desperate, Sua admits that Yeol is using the footage to pressure her into confessing to the school. Director Lee insists this cannot happen, but Sua assures her she has 3 days to find the video and destroy it. Elsewhere, Yeol's father takes Yeon-do's mother out for a date. Over dinner, he presses her about marriage, but she says she prefers the simplicity of dating. Frustrated, he tells her he's ready to break up if marriage isn't on the table, admitting that being with her has made him a better father and person. He suggests they all share a meal together when their kids return home, leaving her visibly torn. Back at school, Sua escalates her plans, having stolen Yeol's tablet. She sits in the study room, frantically trying to unlock it when Yeol walks in, catching her red-handed. His intense gaze unnerves her as he silently revels in her discomfort. Later, during the team meeting, Sua attempts to excuse herself by claiming she's feeling unwell. Yeondu seizes the moment, teasing that Sua always finds energy to study until her nose bleeds, but mysteriously falls sick when it's time for practice. With a sharp edge in her tone, Yeondu reminds Sua that her time is running out, drawing a smirk from Yeol at her boldness. When the teachers arrive, Yeondu boldly declares that Sua will stay for practice after all. The team works on lifts, but during one attempt, Ha-jun accidentally drops Yeondu. Yeol rushes to her side, his protective instincts kicking in before anyone else can react. After practice, Yeol pulls Yeondu aside, curious about her motivations. She admits she pushed Sua to stay for practice out of sheer frustration, ready for Sua's schemes to end. Yeol encourages her, brightly promising they'll find a way to make it stop, then shifts the topic to their relationship. Feigning innocence, Yeondu dodges his questions, much to Yeol's playful annoyance. He grumbles about her casual closeness with the other guys, even accusing her of flirting with Ha-jun. Pouting, he dramatically declares she's only allowed to touch him from now on. Yeondu bursts into laughter, refusing to indulge his possessiveness. As she walks away, Yeondu giggles at Yeol's adorable jealousy. But her mood quickly shifts when she encounters Sua, who looks livid. Sua warns her to keep quiet until the 3 days are up. Unfazed, Yeondu retorts that instead of threats, Sua should be focused on confessing before it's too late. During class, Sua claims she's feeling unwell and asks to visit the nurse. Instead, she sneaks away to retrieve a hidden bag and heads to the restroom. Teacher Yang catches a glimpse of a hooded figure in black and recognizes her as Sua. Suspicious, he quietly follows her. Sua slips into the boys' dormitory, makes her way to Yeol's room, and opens his laptop. She quickly finds the USB containing the incriminating video. Just as she's about to leave, Teacher Yang bursts in, catching her red-handed. Over her shoulder, he glimpses the video playing on the laptop. Attempting to see more, he steps closer, but Sua panics. She yanks the USB out, inadvertently dropping it onto Hyo-shik's bed in the chaos, before managing to shut the laptop and wrestle free. Yang sternly orders her back to class, warning that they'll discuss what he saw on the video later. Flustered and empty-handed, Sua retreats to one of her cigarette stash points to regroup. Meanwhile, her absence from Yang's class doesn't go unnoticed. Desperate, Sua meets with Director Lee, confessing that the situation is spiraling out of control. Director Lee assures her the video hasn't been leaked yet and advises her to return to school and beg Teacher Yang for leniency. She also instructs Sua to figure out what Yeol and Yeondu want and suggests offering them money to keep quiet, a plan that's practically begging to fail. Elsewhere, Ha-jun and Hyo-shik are practicing trust exercises in their room, with Dong-jae watching. Ha-jun struggles, still feeling guilty about dropping Yeondu during practice. He grows distracted and leaves when Yeol calls him to grab Ramyun. Hyo-shik notices Ha-jun's unusual preoccupation, remarking that he's never seen him worry about anything besides studying before. Left alone, Hyo-shik flops onto his bed but yelps when something hard jabs into his back. It's the USB Sua dropped earlier. Intrigued, he plugs it into his computer, thinking it might be something scandalous. What he finds shocks him, footage of Sua stealing the USB from Yeol's laptop. Unable to keep this to himself, Hyo-shik shows the USB to Da-mi, who grabs Yeondu's laptop from her locker to play the video. As they watch, they realize this is the reason behind Yeol's tension with Sua at the camping trip. They're baffled as to why he hasn't already exposed her. Meanwhile, Sua returns to school, where Teacher Yang confronts her for skipping class and not following his instructions. Attempting to follow Director Lee's advice, she pleads for understanding. But her efforts are interrupted when murmurs ripple through the crowd of students around them. Da-mi, it turns out, has shared the footage of Sua stealing the USB with the entire student body, using Yeondu's laptop. When Sua discovers this, she's furious, especially when she sees the source of the video. Yeondu is horrified to learn her computer was used, and she confronts Da-mi, who defends her actions as the right thing to do. Even so, Yeondu and Yeol are both deeply upset. They had given Sua one more day to come clean, and now that chance is gone. Determined to set things straight, Yeondu goes looking for Sua, unaware that Sua is also searching for her. Their paths cross at the top of a staircase, where Sua, seething with anger, slaps Yeondu hard across the face. "You broke your promise. Sua accuses, gripping Yeondu's lapels as Yeondu tries to explain that she had nothing to do with the leak. But Sua refuses to listen, her rage boiling over. At the base of the stairs, Yeol and Ha-jun arrive just in time to see Sua snap. "I'm going to kill you, Kang Yeondu," she screams, before shoving Yeondu violently. Yeondu tumbles down the staircase, and both boys lunge to catch her. One of them succeeds, breaking her fall as they roll to the bottom. When the dust settles, Yeondu sits up, trembling, and looks down at her savior in horror. It's Yeol. He lies unconscious beneath her, blood streaming from a severe head wound. That's it for today's recap. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe button to stay updated on all the latest recaps. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.